Top D.C. lawmakers unable to come to an agreement on government funding. Things are now set to shut down at midnight if a last-minute deal is not reached. Joining us now is House Majority Whip Tom Emmer. Is there any chance, sir? Right now, the handicapping, the odds makers say not a chance at all. But give us a little bit of hope, maybe?
Well, I hope there is, Andrew. Good morning to all of you. It would be foolish for Chuck Schumer and Democrats to shut this thing down. Look, House Republicans, the Republicans in the Senate, we did our job. We did the reasonable and responsible thing by passing just a short-term, clean, nonpartisan extension. Literally something that the Democrats that are now opposed to supported just 6 months ago. And, Andrew, they voted for the same type of extension 13 times under the Biden administration. This is not the time to make a shutdown a negotiating tool. It's insane. Chuck Schumer should allow this to happen so we can get back to some semblance of regular order in the budgeting process.
Is there anything you think that the Republicans could, quote unquote, give that would make a deal palatable to the Democrats?
Again, Andrew, we've done what we're supposed to do for the American people. What do they want? I mean, it's insane. They want $1.5 trillion in new spending. They literally want to fund taxpayer-funded health care for illegals. They want $500 million to prop up radical news outlets. They want to end. I mean, you want to fund health care for illegals, and at the same time, they want to eliminate $50 billion from rural health care, and they want billions for foreign countries' climate projects. This is insanity. Literally, if they shut it down tonight, it's going to be on them. This will be the Schumer shutdown.
In terms of the implications of this shutdown, one of the different features, at least, is the threat that employees of the government are not going to all be just furloughed, that many of them could be fired. Can you speak to that?
Sure. I mean, this is why Chuck Schumer and Democrats should do the right thing. Just fund the government. Vote for the exact same extension that you presented 13 times under the Biden administration. Put the American people first. Instead of Chuck Schumer, who's so scared of losing his job, instead of worrying about himself, you need to put the American people first. If they do the right thing, the government will be funded. You won't have that problem. If they don't, well, then they're going to own the consequences.
You know, Congressman, we're not going to figure out the Obamacare credits by tonight or whenever, this is going to happen. But it would be possible to figure it out before Obamacare sign-up. I think it's November 1st. And, there are some Republicans that at least are open to the idea of discussing it. If you could tighten things up and at least think that some of the fraud that goes on that they're talking about, if you could put in some guidelines or something. But how would you get how could you tell Democrats, we promise it will do that, without reneging after they vote for the CR? I think that's probably what they're worried about. Is there a deal there somewhere that we promise you we'll talk about this and do something after you do the CR?
This is the straw man argument. They're trying to grasp anything outside of the fact that we have a responsible and reasonable, clean funding agreement. Our speaker has said when it comes to the Obamacare subsidies, premium subsidies, those are an end-of-the-year funding issue or end-of-the-year policy issue, not a funding issue. So let's stay focused, Joe, on what needs to happen today. And what needs to happen is Chuck Schumer needs to put the American people first, keep the government open. Let's get Republicans and Democrats who are already at the table. I mean, I think it's the first time since 2014, somebody should check me to be sure, that both bodies passed a motion to go to conference. So they're already in conference. This brief extension was to allow them to close up bills that they're very close on. Again, we're trying to get back to regular order and fund the government appropriately. Republicans have done their job. It is now up to Democrats to actually step up and stop all this nonsense, complaining, and do what's right for the American people. Otherwise, they're going to own this shutdown.
Majority Whip, Emmer, I want to thank you for joining us. There's nowhere to go with this because I don't really understand what the options are on the table, if there are, beyond just saying you got to sign. And that's the thing that makes it feel like there's. That's why when I was asking, right, is there some give and take here? But if you think it's, look, part of it is a negotiating question. Whether you think Schumer is just asking for the sun and the moon and the stars, knowing it's an anchoring technique. I mean, the president's engaged in this anchoring technique before.
Well,
right?
the president, Tom, do you think the president really thinks it would be? I mean, if it does shut down, is that a political sort of a gambit he's willing to take? Because I think he's already done the calculus that it's going to be the Democrats that get harnessed with this. I don't think he cares.
Well, it's going to be the Democrats. And it's interesting when Andrew talks about there's no negotiating. Come on, Andrew, this is a nonpartisan continuing resolution. The Republicans weren't negotiating with Democrats. We were giving them the current spending levels. There are no poison pill partisan policy pieces in what Republicans have given to Democrats. And by the way, Democrats voted for the same thing 13 times. So the American public is smarter than this. They will realize that this is a nonpartisan effort to try and keep the government funded. Republicans are on the right side of this. If Democrats shut it down, it's going to be the Schumer shutdown.